Today we will be discussing cumulative relative frequency graphs. And actually, I'm also going to show you a frequency table. So the thing that you see in front of you is not actually the graph, it's actually the table. So this table that you see shows the distribution of median household incomes for the 50 states and Washington, D.C. So I'm just going to go over what some of these things actually mean. So on the left-hand corner is what we're actually looking at, our median income in thousands. And the important word that we have right here, frequency, means how often something occurs. You probably have heard it. You might have even heard it in something like physics class or something. But the main idea behind it is, and this goes for any class where you hear the word frequency, it's how often something happens. So what this means is that, for example, for the 50 states, there are 10 of them where there is a median income between $40,000 and $45,000. And the relative frequency is the fraction of times that occurs, or the percent of times that happens out of the total. So you can see that approximately 20% of the states have a median income of between $40,000 and $45,000. Now, cumulative frequency, you may or may not remember this from other classes that you had, but the word cumulative means that and everything before it. So, for example, this 11 represents everything below $45,000. It can also be like below 40,000, but it's below 45,000. So then the cumulative relative frequency is going to tell you what percent of things occur at or below 45,000. So that's what that is. So now let's go on to another thing. So this thing in front of you here is actually our cumulative relative frequency graph. And we also call this, the name is super long, so we actually call it an ogive. So you can refer to it as either. That one's easier to remember, I think, because it's shorter, but it's up to you which word you want to use. So to explain what we have here, I think I'm just going to go straight into an example. So the first question asks you, at what percentile is California with a median household income of $57,445? So what we have is, if you look at this graph, 57,445 is pretty much right in the middle of 55 and 60,000. So I'm going to just mark it on the graph. It's around there. So now we're going to find the percentile where that occurs. I'll show you what the answer is and then I'll explain. So to me it looks like it's about 0.8. So we would say it's at the 80th percentile. So it's about 80%, or at the 80th percentile. So you may or may not have heard the word percentile before. I think you often hear it with standardized tests. So in this case, what it means is that 80% of states are less than California. So they're less than the 57,445. So that's what percentile is. So now the next question is kind of an interesting one. I asked you to estimate and to interpret the first quartile. So the first quartile, you may or may not remember this, but it is the thing that occurs it's like the half of the first half. So it's actually going to be 1/4 of the way through the distribution. Believe it or not, that is the exact same thing as the 25th percentile. So the way that you're going to find that is figure out approximately where 25 is on the graph. So it looks to me like it's about there. And I'm just going to kind of estimate it to approximately 46,000. So if you want, you can pause and try that IQR on your own, otherwise I'll just do it. So the IQR is, if you remember from the previous section, it's the Q3 minus Q1. So Q1, our first quartile, we've actually already found, so that was 46,000. The Q3 is going to be, you might be able to guess it, it's our 75th percentile. And that is approximately right here. To make it easy on myself, I'm just going to estimate it as 56,000. So then you find your IQR by subtracting those two, and you'll find that your IQR is approximately 10,000.